Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. So today I decided to do a little guide for you guys in the Nightbird scout helicopter in Battlefield 2042. A lot of people have been watching my gameplay in videos or over on Twitch, and they've constantly been asking me to tell them what my settings are, you know, how I'm playing and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to just do a little tutorial today, and this is mainly going to be focused on how to use the miniguns and actually effectively kill enemy players with them. So let's start by going over the loadout real quick here. There's not much to it. So basically you want to take the miniguns and the 70mm rocket pack. That's the default loadout, and the reason for this is that the miniguns are actually better than the mounted 20mm. Now, there is definitely a trick to using the miniguns that I'm going to show you guys in this video, but what a lot of players do is they make the mistake of starting with the default loadout. They'll kill enemy players with the rocket pack because, I mean, let's face it, they really need no explanation. They've got crazy splash damage. You only need like, you know, 3, 4, at the most 5 rockets to kill infantry. And so what they do is they level the helicopter up with the rocket pack, then they unlock the 20mm, which have splash damage. They equip the 20mm and they think, okay, these are much better than the miniguns, and they just stick with that. But I promise you, the miniguns are far superior than the 20mm cannons. Not least of all because the 20mm have recently been nerfed as well. Air-to-ground missile at the moment isn't bad. If you guys have used this on the jets, you'll know it's pretty good at taking out ground vehicles. The rocket pack is pretty terrible against tanks or really any vehicle on the ground, but you can still use the miniguns against light vehicles like hovercraft, jeeps and that sort of thing. You're just basically powerless against tanks and LAVs, those sorts of vehicles. So whilst the air-to-ground missile isn't bad, the rocket pack is just too good at the moment. It is absolutely insane at killing infantry, so I really can't recommend the AGM over the rockets. Alright guys, so I've just hopped into a co-op game here to show you guys how the miniguns work. I know what you're thinking, it's pretty obvious how they work, right? They just point and shoot, but chances are if you've come from, let's say, Battlefield 4, that was the last time that you used a scout helicopter, they're actually quite different in this game. So in BF4, your rounds always went directly in the center of the crosshair, basically both of the miniguns converged at the same point. In 2042, that is just not the case. So if we're up nice and close here to these containers, you'll notice that these things are hitting nowhere near my crosshair, right? They're hitting way below, and you can notice that the left and the right cannon are each hitting in their own separate places. So basically, when you're killing infantry, you really have to worry about the distance from the infantry a lot. Don't try to aim necessarily with the middle of the crosshair, and by the way, the crosshair, which you can't really refer to it as a crosshair, is a circle. I really wish it was 2 little dots instead, one for the left cannon and one for the right cannon. But I'm going to show you guys what I mean. So you've got to find the sweet spot, and then you've got to aim just sort of slightly below them. So this dude running over here, if you get the right distance from him, you're going to kill him fairly quickly. Now bear in mind, this is of course AI. These guys are like running pretty predictably. You're not going to find actual players running this way. They're going to be zigzagging, and it's going to be harder, right? But I wanted to showcase this live, and it would have been quite annoying if I would have gotten taken out. So I'll show you guys a couple of examples, right? Here I'm just way too far away from this guy, and if I try and go for him there, you can see that the spread is just going everywhere, and it wasn't until I closed the gap and got a little bit closer that I actually managed to get the kill. I did get a few hit markers, but I basically had to waste a ton of rounds there just trying to kill that guy. This guy's a little bit far out of range. He's going to take a bit longer to kill until we close the gap again a little bit, and we sort of get to that sweet spot. So basically, if you're at the right distance, the cannons line up like almost perfectly. Once you get that close, you can only hit them with one cannon. So if you can sort of guesstimate that distance every single time for every kill and try to keep that distance, you're going to be able to hit that guy with both cannons at the same time, and you're going to be able to dispatch him pretty quickly. Alright, so I'm going to try and show you guys what I mean about that perfect engagement distance. So you don't want to be too far away from a target, and you also don't want to be too close. And I'll sort of show you guys what happens in each situation. Not on that guy though, that's a tank. We won't do much against him. Let's have a look. Here's some infantry over here. Okay, if we go for this guy here, he's kind of far away. We're getting some hit markers there, but we didn't really get the kill. I maybe started firing a bit too early, and you can see we finally got the kill there, but only because we damaged him a bunch. So if we get just a little bit closer before we start firing around this range, you can see that the kill comes much faster because both cannons are converging in the same spot. You're hitting them with both of them together, right? So likewise, you don't want to be this close. This guy's going to RPG me. I don't want to get RPG by the AI. Leave me alone. I'm trying to get in close here before I take my shot. Let me just get rid of this Jeep first. Oh, wow, I almost got RPG there. Okay, if we're sort of this close, you're not going to be able to hit them with more than one cannon. So what I mean by that is you're only going to be hitting with the left cannon or the right cannon. See this dude here? I could only really get him with the right cannon there. Same with this one. You guys should be able to make out where they're hitting the grass there. That sort of an engagement distance is just too close. See what I mean? Even though my cursor was right on that guy, I wasn't getting any hit markers because both the cannons were missing. Now this guy is at a bit of a better distance, so I get a kill much faster there. Now you can, if you do happen to be close, you can compensate for that and you can just go for that kill with the left cannon or the right cannon, but just be aware that you're going to have to aim well low and to the left or the right depending on which cannon you want to use, right? So I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, it's a good skill to learn as well in certain situations, but for the most part, you just want to be keeping that medium-ish distance. And, you know, I wish I could just tell you guys exactly what the distance is, but, like, this is a little bit too far. Right there, that's perfect. You kind of just have to feel it out for yourself. But if you are missing with the miniguns, you know, all the time, it's most likely nothing to do with the fact that you can't aim. It's more to do with the distance and how you're aiming depending on the distance. So another thing that matters is also your momentum. You don't want to be constantly on the move. I mean, you do want to be on the move because you don't want to get RPG'd, like by that guy there. But if you're moving like this fast, your shots are going to have a lot of momentum that you're going to have to compensate for, which is why you usually see pilots doing this kind of zigzaggy, like they'll sort of tilt to one side like that, take a few shots, and then they'll reposition, tilt to the other side. You know, see that there's a guy on the ladder there. Let's try and go for this guy. They'll kind of like stop their momentum like that, so that their shots are going to go exactly where they want them to go. That's generally a good practice to learn and to practice. It's something, you know, people also did in Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. That's not necessarily new to the Nightbird in 2042, but I thought it's worth mentioning nonetheless. So yeah, guys, a lot of it just does come down to practice, but I just wanted to put this out there because the cannons are quite odd the way they function in the game. DICE really don't explain it to you at all. You just have to figure it out for yourselves. And I'm sure there are tons of players out there who have picked up this thing, tried to get kills with the cannons, and it just hasn't worked. So that last guy there you saw, I just kind of aimed to one side of the cursor. I'll show you that here. In fact, be getting close to this guy. There, see, I got him with the right cannon. Don't always aim with the cursor. The cursor is basically just a guide. It's not an absolute position of where your shots are going to hit. So hopefully this was helpful to somebody if you're a new player coming into Battlefield 2042 or you're trying your best to level up the Nightbird. And you know, you might say, why not just use the rocket pods? Aren't they better against infantry? And well, yes, they are very good against infantry, but you just go through them so fast. A lot of the time you won't have rocket pods available, you'll only have the miniguns, and in those situations you want to be able to kill stuff, right? Also, I forgot to mention it in the live gameplay, but obviously if you're going for a larger target like a Jeep or a hovercraft, you can get away with firing from much further away because the spread isn't really going to matter just because of the fact that the hitbox is that much larger. Let me know if you want to see more. This is of course just one facet of flying the Nightbird. The other half of the equation is actually surviving and staying alive. So if you guys want to see more Nightbird guides and tips and tricks, let me know in the comments down below. And indeed, if you have any of your own tips and tricks for using the miniguns or the way you like to play, drop those down below as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.